Hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to The Final Bill, the podcast that explores the real economic cost of dying in America. I'm your host, Pauline Kai, a student who believes the systems we are living in and die deserve to be questioned, especially when they leave people struggling in their most vulnerable moments. Today's episode is titled Nursing Home Equation. Because when illness or aging makes independent living impossible, a lot of people turn to nursing homes for care. But inside lies a complex and often unaffordable system where both care, cost, and capitalism all collide. So, like how I did with the previous episode discussing hospice care, I will also ask, what are nursing homes supposed to do? Nursing homes are facilities that provide long-term, around-the-clock care for people who can't live on their own. Many of them are elderly or terminal ill. They can handle everything from medication to bathing to meals to medical monitoring. Ideally, they give a peace of mind. But here's of course, the truth. The cost of dying in a private room in the United States nursing home is about $108,000 per year. What about a semi-private room? It still costs $94,000 annually, like previously mentioned. So even families with savings can't keep that for so long. So what happens when all the money runs out? Who pays for the nursing homes? So the most shortest answer is Medicaid, but not without certain limitations. So about 62% of nursing home residents rely on Medicaid. But to qualify even for Medicaid, you must spend down your assets, often losing your home savings and inheritance potential just for you to get care. So this puts a major strain on low-income families and middle-class families, especially with those hope to pass down wealth throughout generations. And if you're uninsured or stuck between eligibility brackets, there's often no safety net at all. So the system is shrinking, and it is truly getting more expensive. From 2015 to 2023, the U.S. has lost over 500 nursing homes, especially in rural areas. So that's fewer beds, longer waiting lists, and overworked staff. And within all of this, there's a new player entering the system, private equity. So around 2,000 nursing homes now are owned by private investment firms. According to JAMA, again, with its health forum, it shows that private equity ownership is linked to lower staffing levels and higher mortality rates. And even while all these other profit margins go up. So if this care goes down, cost goes up, families are going to have to pay the price. So what families and who is getting hit the hardest? So first off, it's going to be minorities who lived in understaffed or low-rated facilities, LGBTQ plus elders who face discrimination and often lack of family support, making access even more limited. And in rural areas where the closure of a single nursing home can leave hundreds of miles between a patient and the nearest bed. So for terminally ill patients, these conditions mean fewer options for dignified care, and especially if home hospice isn't an option, which, like discussed previously, home hospice can be extremely inexpensive and inefficient. So what can be done? So let's talk about potential solutions. Here are some that experts suggest. One is expanding home and community-based services. There are Medicaid waivers for in-home health care that can often be cheaper and better for patients. But there are long waiting lists, and we need to fund these services properly. And another thing is cap long-term health care costs. So federal policies should create caps on what families pay out of pocket. So what we do for other healthcare services. And number 3 is regulating ownership transparency. So requiring those nursing homes to disclose ownership structures that can prevent cost cutting and the expense of care quality. So last but not least is to support the workforce. So many of these nursing assistants and elder care workers make less than $16 per hour. That is near to minimum wage. So we need better wages, training, and retention programs that could reduce staff turnover and improve care. So I'd like to close this episode with the fact that nursing homes are supposed to be a place of care and of rest, but a lot of the times they become places of socioeconomic inequality. And so when we're talking about end-of-life care, we can't ignore this part of the equation, because for millions of Americans, it's not if they need this long-term care, but how they will afford it and whether they'll survive it. So once again, I would like to thank everybody joining me on this third episode of The Final Bill. If you found this helpful, please leave a comment. And I also want to say that if you have anybody going through this, yourself, your friend, your family member, tell me about it, and tell me, ask if there's any questions, and I will respond as soon as possible, because every voice helps move the conversation forward. And so the next time we'll be looking at grief and a ledger, how death doesn't end death, and how families are left to carry financial burdens long after the funeral ends. So until then, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.